Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome everyone here in the room and those of you at home with us. Welcome to the Bangor School Committee. This is a regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 30th. It is right about 7, a little after 7, so let's go ahead and get started. If you could all please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. And I believe we have recognitions first. Superintendent Tager?
Yes, we do. The Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee will recognize Sam Connor-Self as receiving the Foreign Language Association of Maine Student Recognition Award for 2022. The criteria for this selection states that the nominee must have studied a minimum of 4 years of at least one language and have a record of outstanding scholarship and of service to the school. Spanish teacher Graciela Dorsa will introduce Sam.
To introduce to you the recipient of this prestigious award, the Flame Student of the Year 2022, Sam Connor-Self. I have known Sam since 9th grade. Sam was my student in all of the honors Spanish classes, and they is currently taking the AP class, preparing for the AP Spanish Language and Culture exam. Through all these years, Sam has been an outstanding student, showing their talent in the target language and their enthusiasm in learning more about the Hispanic culture as well as other cultures. This passion for other languages and cultures inspired Sam to take German classes at the University of Maine and also to study American Sign Language at BHS, completing ASL 1 and 2 this year. Beyond the classroom setting, Sam has demonstrated excellent leadership skills. Loving languages, Sam decided to organize the World Languages Honor Society weekly language tables during lunchtime at BHS, creating a great opportunity for language students to practice and to socialize. Sam has been involved in different extracurricular activities such as the Spanish Club, the Civil Rights Club, the Student for Gender Equality, and the Q Plus Club. Sam took excellent leadership roles as a secretary of the Young Democrats, the Young Democratic Voter Education Campaign, and the Students for Gender Equity Club. Their leadership skills made Sam the co-president of the Q Plus Club and the social media director of the Student for Gender Equality. All of these qualities make Sam Connor-Self the Flame Student of the Year 2022. Congratulations, Sam. A picture?
Yes, you will. Back by you.
Next we have the Cheerleader of the Year 2022 award.
Yes, and if it's okay with you, Chair, I'd like to bring up the next three awards
Yes.
together. Okay, the Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee will recognize Emily Tenney as the Cheerleader of the Year for 2022. The Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee will recognize coaches Stephanie Crane and Kate Robichaud as KVAC Cheer Coaches of the Year for 2022. The Bangor School Department, was that me? Sorry about that. The Bangor School Department and the Bangor School Committee will recognize Coach Quinn Parody as the Hockey Coach of the Year for 2022. If all three would come up, please.
Hi, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I think you can.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
No, Chairperson, no adjustments.
Okay, excellent. And now, public comments, and just a quick reminder, members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on school and education matters. Complaints or allegations concerning specific employees or students will not be allowed, but will be addressed through established policies and procedures. Public comments shall be directed to the school committee and be brief and not repetitive. The school committee's practice is not to respond or debate with speakers during the public comment period. The superintendent or his staff will follow up on comments outside of the meeting as appropriate. Before starting, please state your name and place of residence. Do we have any public comments today? Okay, perfect. Next, we have superintendent's proposals and updates. Action items, we have a second reading of FY23 budget.
I'm recommending approval of the second reading of the FY23 budget. We will vote on each article separately. Before we bring up Director Jerry Heyman to go through the process, I'd like to thank the school committee for your engagement in this process. This is the third time we've met, including a workshop that you asked for. I've received a lot of emails and phone calls from all of you, so I appreciate that you all did your due diligence, and it was a good discussion throughout. So thank you for being actively involved throughout. Jerry Heyman.
All right. They took my mouse away. They took the keyboard away so I wouldn't drop it again, which I thought it was a great idea.
Should be all good.
Okay, I'm going to present fairly briefly the second reading of the budget for the fiscal 23 year. We made some adjustments internally. We found some corrections that were needed. People were not in the right place, so we made those adjustments. The budget before you is for the exact same amount as the first reading in total, so that hasn't changed. So what I'll do is I'll go through to get the state category amounts on record before hopefully you vote on the articles. Okay. So we've distributed the packet again. The first few pages of the graph, and there's one in numeric and then one graph showing expenditures, Bangor against the state of Maine. They haven't changed. Obviously, it's a story we want to preserve and keep in the packet. The next is the revenue sheet. And off to the right of the revenue sheet, there's numbers that go with the notes on the next page. The very first row is the amount the state deems the city of Bangor required to fund their schools, given all the parameters that exist, and that amount is $19,665,000. Row number 2, the number off to the right, they say that's the amount above the minimum required, and that's the amount needed from the citizens of Bangor to fully fund the budget as it's currently put together. And that amount is $6,588,056. So the total local portion is $25,588,721. The next row is the state aid. This is the amount the state is dedicating to the Bangor School Department based on all the parameters that they've analyzed. And that's gone up this year. They're, right now, the amount is $24,081,603. That's up $1,443,185. So that's a really nice increase. The rest of the revenues are smaller in nature, and we chose to keep them at 0, just so we could focus on the bigger numbers at the top. The total bottom line budget is on the very last row, row 21. The budget is $53,073,324, and you can see that increase that matches the increase from state aid. We obviously did that on purpose, and that equates to a 2.8% increase. The next page was simply the explanations for the revenue sheet. If you had any questions on where the revenues come from and what they mean, that's for your reading pleasure. Next is the state categories. This is a requirement of the state of Maine. This is how the state looks at the budget. And this is the categories. They determine exactly to the penny what goes in and what does not go into each category. And they have the codes that go along with that. So we've compiled the budget. Everything we do in the budget has a code, and it's compiled in this manner. As you can see, the total budget is the same. It's the $53,073,324 for that same increase and the same 2.8% increase. The categories that went up noticeably are the ones you would expect: regular instruction, special education, and the staff and student support. The one that looks sort of out of place with the negative numbers, the facilities, and once again, that is because last year we received appropriations, extra appropriation late in the game from the state of Maine. We used it for capital projects. This year it's not there, so it looks like a negative when in fact it's just a mechanism of backing that out from one year to the next. So that amount last year was $862,000. So if you took that into consideration, the facilities category would also go up modestly. And please stop me if you have any questions. The next 2 pages are numbered to go with the state categories we just reviewed, and they talk in a little bit of detail about what's in each one and any specifics from the current year. The notes have not really changed. They've been tweaked slightly, but they are the same as the first reading. Then there's a graph to put in perspective visually the state categories. And you can see, obviously, it's regular instruction far outpacing anything else. And behind that is special education. So they're from the largest categories to the smallest. From there, if you had more questions about what's in each category, we did a sort of a summary with the sections as outlined by the state of Maine. And then behind that, we chopped that up a little bit more between salaries and purchase service and supplies and those types of things. So if anybody has any questions about the sort of the minutia of the state categories, please let me know. So I'm not going to read every category that I've already read the total. It's the same. So you have the detail on regular education and then special education. Then the next one is other instruction, followed by student and staff support, followed by system administration, school administration, transportation, our debt service, which we reviewed in detail, and then sort of on all other expenditures, and that really is the support we do for the lunch program and the lunch aids. Anybody have any questions about any of that, the detail?
Member Mundell?
Yeah, thank you. I know we talked some about this at the workshop, but just a question just occurred to me as I was looking at these numbers again. Under other instruction, salaries, what salaries are covered in that category? 'Cause I notice under the description, it has coaches and athletic director. I guess my question is, are those salaries covered under other instruction or under Bangor High School athletics if it's a high school?
Well, in this version, they're under other instruction. That's how the state put it together. So if you're talking about coaches specifically, they're here. In a couple slides, we're going to be looking at it by division, which is where you see a division for athletics. So all the same numbers are recast by division, usually by school, but then some major programs like special education, Bangor athletics, that type of categories. So it's kind of
I see.
two different messages.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. So that's the end of the state category section. And get to your point right off the bat. The next slide is the same numbers recast in the division form. This is the form that you see every month in your financial package. We talked about that a little in detail in the workshop. This is the expenditure, so this would be every month on page 3 of your packet. So you can refer kind of back to it as you see it every month, and we can talk about it. So what this is, the exact same budget, of course, $53,073,324, same increase, but cast by division. And the one that sticks out is the same reason it did on the state categories. It's the Bangor High one that shows a negative. That's where that extra appropriation for capital projects resides. So that's where that extra 862,000. So without that, Bangor High rose modestly. So next year you won't see that unless the state is generous enough to come in late with additional appropriation, which I wouldn't have a problem with. So the pages after the divisions are explanations of the divisions. There's 2 pages that go through, or 2.5 pages go through every one of them.
Member Surratt?
A question on the divisions.
Sure.
I was just curious, I was just noticing that Abraham Lincoln School was one of the few schools that had a negative 0.635. Just interested to hear why.
Most of that is I wanted to know the same thing, and I drilled down, and most of it is in insurance, health insurance. As we went through several of these categories, we noticed that last year's estimate was a bit robust. So when you came back to a more realistic number this year, in some cases you got a negative number. So we're going to this year really watch what we do. This year we budgeted an 8% increase. The Anthem has come out and statewide stated that's the maximum increase that anybody's going to get. So put that in as a fail-safe. And then based on your usage, they'll come back in a month or so and actually give you a real increase. So hopefully next year we'll, working off that 8%, it's a much better base to work from.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this next sheet is state versus local funding. This shows you the increase in the left column that the state has done over the years for since 2010. And then the right-hand column is the amount that we've increased, the amount that we've asked for from our local share. And right now on the very bottom, you can see a nice round zero there, which is what we've done. The next two are graphs stating the amount of the state subsidy, and then the percentage. The next one is the percentage of the subsidy compared to the total budget. And both are trending nicely. You can see on the end, they're both trending up. We all hope that continues, but it's not going to go up forever. So, but right now it looks nice. And then followed, there's 2 years worth of pie charts. So we took the state categories and put them in pie form, and you can see the difference. There are only small changes between the 2 years. So this is last year, and this is the year that you're seeing for next year's budget. And then we have a couple other charts in here that you've seen before. We have one for the local mill rates in the area, and then one that talks about the amount set aside by the state for the charter schools. After that is many pages of a 5-year capital plan. This is put together by administration and the engineering firm, and we go school to school looking for what we need to do on our very old aging fiscal plant. As hard as we work on it, seems to grow every year, but we still take a whack at it every year. The COVID funding has really helped with our HVAC projects. You've been gracious enough to allow some bonding on some really big heating, roofing, electrical projects, so thank you very much for that. But we take a look at the bottom line this year like we always do and devise a plan to do what we can, and hopefully to each school we'll do something that's on the list. So take your time and look that over. Feel free to ask any questions at any time on this list. I thumb through this list all the time, hoping to do better with more. So like I said, it's a lot of pages on the list that goes through each school. And then at the end are the articles. The articles coincide with the count categories that we began this presentation with. That's what the state is looking for. They do look. They require that you review the budget and pass it by these articles, which coincide with the their state categories. So if there are no further questions, I would ask you to consider voting on the articles, and we can formally have a budget.
Any questions? Member Surratt?
I was wondering if Director Heyman or perhaps Director Babin could just talk about additions to social workers and school counselors that this budget will be funding, and just talk a little bit about those positions. The public would be interested.
You sound so much better. I could give you the raw numbers, but she'll give you the story behind the numbers. Yes, they are.
They are. Both of them are. Just like I presented at the workshop, in line with the Bangor School Department strategic plan, we've been working to increase social work services over the past few years. And since 2019, we've doubled the amount of social workers in the district. We're including one additional social worker for next year that will allow us to have full-time social workers in our high-need schools for next year. In addition to that, we've added a guidance counselor to the district that will allow us to have full-time guidance in some of our elementary schools that currently don't have that. Does that help? Thank you. Yep.
Other questions? No? This is not a question. I just want to thank you all on this wonderful process. It was robust. We had healthy debates, and it was very engaging. And the questions that came in during the workshop and even afterwards, even up until today, were excellent. So thank you all so much. This is not an easy process, and I'm just very proud of the fact that as a school committee, we did our due diligence and made sure that it was thorough and equitable across. It was truly equitable across the board, we felt at the end. So thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Superintendent Tager. Yep. So do we go ahead and read these in?
Yeah, you would read them, we would get a first, a second, a comment, and a vote.
Okay. So first, the motion, or just read?
If you'll read it first and then take a motion.
Okay, excellent. So I will go ahead and start. Article 1, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for regular instruction for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $22,922,528. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion passes 6-0.
To see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for special education of the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $10,211,865.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion passes 6-0.
Article 3, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for other instruction for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $1,446,023.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 4.
Article 4, to see the sum of school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for student and staff support services for the fiscal year of 2022-2023. Recommend $4,834,974.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion passes 6-0.
Article 5, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for system administration for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $1,506,683.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 6, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for school administration for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $2,824,300.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 7, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for transportation and buses for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $2 million.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 8, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $5,434,911.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 9, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Recommend $1,780,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 10, to see what sum the school administrative unit will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures, which includes $25,000 for food service program support for the fiscal year of 2022 to 2023. Recommend $112,016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 11, to see what sum the district/unit will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act. Recommend $53,073,324.
So moved.
All in favor?
6-0.
Article 12, to see if the school administrative unit will appropriate $457,480 for adult education and raise $200,000 local share with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
6-0.
And finally, Article 13, to see if the school administrative unit will raise $18,022.96 to be used for the Bangor School Department's vocational education assessment. The assessment is for the UTC adult education budget, which totals $318,528.80, of which $60,847.08 is supported by sending districts.
So moved.
All in favor?
Thank you. 6-0.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any informational items, Superintendent Tager?
Nope.
Okay, on to business action items. The first action item we have is the minutes for a regular meeting of March 23, 2022.
I'm recommending approval of the draft minutes of the March 23, 2022 regular school committee meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
6-0. Thank you.
Oh, one abstention.
Okay, yep. Oh, Sue? Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
And next, personnel, extra duty assignments.
I'm recommending committee approval for the following extra duty assignments for the 2021-2022 school year. Isaac Bushway, baseball coach, William S. Cohen School.
All in, motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Passes 6-0.
And we move on to committee updates. First, any comments or questions from the committee? Member Sichters.
I would really like to thank our brand-new superintendent for all the work. Mr. Tager, this was a phenomenal job, an incredible team, all the administrators that are here. I know that this is a ton of work for you all to do and really trying to figure out what is in the best interest of the students while balancing taxpayer needs. So, just thank you thank you. So.
Thank you.
Any other
I'll wait till the next round.
Okay, so committee, we don't have any committee appointments. Representatives' reports. Member Mendel.
Yeah, the Mental Health Advisory Committee met on, Thursday. And we, I think we had a very productive meeting. We did brief introductions and then we split up into our 3 working groups and went into breakout rooms. And each working group is working on their own goals. And at least 2 of the 3 groups are meeting outside of the normal meeting hours to actually do the work of the committee, since we only have limited time during meeting time. So from what I've heard from folks, I think it's going well.
Excellent, thank you. Others? No? Caroline, do you have any student committee member updates?
Thank you. So I have a lot of announcements to make about students at the high school who have won some awards recently. So first off, the Northern New England Junior Research and Humanities Symposium took place in New Hampshire. And Michaela Kendall and Ginny Hunt received scholarships and will go to New Mexico for the national competition. Cuddy Stedman and Lane Barron also received awards for their posters. The Science Bowl team placed 4th at the state competition. And at the Maine State Science Fair, which took place at Colby College, Cuddy Stedman and Will Shue are going to Atlanta for the International Science Fair in May. The National History Day Regional Contest just took place virtually, and Genevieve Sichters and Annika Nowak won first place for their group website. Catherine Busco and I submitted a group documentary, and we also won first place. And Kosi Ifiji won for a individual paper. Our state competition will come up soon in April, so stay tuned for those results. And the school just made an announcement today to students that there will be an opening of the multi-faith space in the high school. And this is going to be a designated space for all students of any faith or spirituality to have a peaceful and quiet place to practice meditation or other religious activity that they might need during the school day. And right now it's going to take place in the library during regular hours, but they're going to move it to a more permanent space next year. And this Friday, we are having our Ukraine fundraiser, which a lot of clubs are getting really excited for. We're inviting students to wear jeans and yellow shirts to signal the colors of the Ukrainian flag to show our solidarity. And so we would encourage anyone else who would be interested in doing that as well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to all our winners. Our students are phenomenal. I'm so proud of every single one of them. On to informational items. We don't have any reports, correct? Nope. Okay. Lots of important dates. So Wednesday, April 13th, 2022, we have a finance committee meeting to go over the school budget with City Council. That's 5:15 p.m. in council chambers. Wednesday, April 13th, 2022, we have a regular meeting, 7 p.m., council chambers. Wednesday, April 27th, 2022, regular meeting, 7 p.m., council chambers. Wednesday, May 11th, regular meeting, 7 p.m., council chambers. Tuesday, May 17th, 2022, we have our school committee members retreat, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m., Redmond and Winchell. We have another regular meeting, May 25th, 7 p.m., council chambers. Monday, June 13th, 2022, we have the first reading of the school budget with City Council, 7:30 p.m., council chambers. And then Monday, June 27th, 2022, we have the second reading of the school budget with City Council, 7:30 p.m. at council chambers. That was a mouthful. Any questions and comments? Sarah, this is your moment.
So first, I just wanted to take a minute and thank Mr. Fournier at Fruit Street for, there was a fire drill, maybe a surprise one, at pickup time this week. Was it Monday? It's been a long week. Yeah, it's only Wednesday. Okay, sorry about that. Thought that was last week. So I don't know if you've ever tried to pick up a first grader during a fire drill at pickup time, but it is challenging. And there was so little chaos compared to what it could have been. And I was just overly impressed that even in the least opportune time for a fire drill, everybody did what they were supposed to do. Nobody panicked. Everybody was informed. Everybody was updated. It was the least chaotic thing it could have been. And that takes a lot of skill and coordination and work. And thank you for not losing my kid or anybody else's kids. But mostly thank you for just, it's scary, especially at the end of the day for them. They don't know what's going on and they're not with the regular people, and everybody stayed calm, and it's really nice to see. So that was my first one. Thank you, because I have the kid who's of course going to be terrified. So just grateful for that. But the other thing I wanted to mention is a quick just community note. An organization that is near and dear to my heart called Best Buddies is starting a chapter for adult friends. And to explain briefly, Best Buddies is a sister organization to the Special Olympics and is founded by Eunice Kennedy's two sons. One founded the Special Olympics and the other founded Best Buddies. And Best Buddies works to pair students with buddies, but also adults with buddies, buddies being people of standard needs, and the participants are of special needs, and basically just pairs them up to have friendships and to find friends with each other. So they're actually having their first event ever to launch in Maine this next week at Sea Dog. And we're thrilled to try to help support, we being me and some of the other volunteers, but the royal way. But it's just exciting. It's the first time we've been able to do this in Maine, and it's a great opportunity for anyone who has the time to volunteer. I know with the mentoring program, it's a great, some people have a lot to give, and there are always people that need the help. So just wanted to mention that in case we don't get the news out as effectively. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Member Surratt.
I was wondering if Superintendent Tager could just talk a little bit about the scaffolding that's at the Mary Snow School, just to let folks know that might be wondering.
I can. We have an engineering report going right now. We should get the results. I believe Jerry and I are going to talk about those tomorrow. The issue is, and this is not all that uncommon, I guess, me being new to Maine, when it's really cold and we had a number of below 0 days, some of the bricks near the top of the building were loose, and so and falling. So as a precaution, there's scaffolding there. Everything is protected now. Our principal, Chad Bourne's done a nice job communicating with his families. We'll get a report tomorrow, and our hope is that it's just an issue at the top of the school that can be repaired quickly, but more coming. Jerry, is there anything additional, or Dan, that you want to add? You've done a good job navigating. We have our accesses at all of our doors now, I understand. And hey, Dan.
It came as a little bit of a surprise, but I think the engineers have done a great job. Jerry and Abe have done a really good job just figuring all this out quickly, because when we saw that there was an issue of it, we were worried about, obviously recess time and how we enter and exit the building. So we had a little bit of a change where we came through the front only for about a week maybe. And now every entrance and exit is secure. We should be totally safe from it. And today they even put the fencing up around just to keep people away from the building. But I'm pretty confident that our, entrance and exits and recess time is going to be pretty safe. And as soon as we get that report, we can kind of get a game plan together to keep moving forward. When you're 96 years old, things need some attention. But yeah. Yeah.
And I love how the kids, they know what's going on. They, my son explained to me everything that was going on. I'm like, how do you know this?
Yeah, the teachers have done a really wonderful job at reviewing it every day, so everyone feels comfortable and safe. So, and the kids have just been phenomenal because we've had to shrink a little bit of the space out back, and that can create some problems. But they've just been fantastic. And Mrs. Poisson was kind enough to reroute our mileage club, so we didn't lose that either.
Good.
Yeah, so it's going well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. Anything else? All righty. Adjournment.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Thank you.
Passes 6-0.